trade deadline absolutely lived up to expectation for the New York Rangers as they make some deals. And this was the hope. And I would say overall that Chris Drury did a pretty good job. And the Rangers made improvements at forward and at defense. So there was one minor trade, but the three big deals included the Rangers acquiring Andrew Copp from Winnipeg, Justin Braun from Philly, and Tyler Mott from Vancouver. So in Copp, that is the trade in which the Rangers gave away the most, as the Rangers traded away Morgan Barron, 2 conditional seconds, and a 5th-round pick for Andrew Copp and a 6th. So just to get into the trade details, we'll get that out of the way first, as that's certainly important. So Morgan Barron goes to Winnipeg, and it just didn't seem like it was a fit with Gerard Gallant and the coaching staff. Like I had mentioned, not that he really did a whole lot, but I think that this could be a pretty good player, Morgan Barron. I think he could definitely be a good bottom 6 NHL forward. And similar to how it felt with Nils Lundkvist, with Barron, he wasn't getting that much ice time, and they were playing guys that you wouldn't think over him. And so it felt like Morgan Barron, his days were somewhat numbered, although the Rangers, I feel like, could have had a use for Barron. But I can't be too up in arms about that part of the deal, just because, look, I don't know if it was really going to work here, even though it was early. Not that Morgan Barron is such a super young prospect either, but I just think that it was a situation where I think Gallant really just didn't see a fit for Barron in the near future, and so he's part of this deal. 2 conditional 2nd-round picks. Now, this will be where, there's certainly going to be some discussion as far as whether this price was worth it. Now, these were all rentals. Andrew Copp will be a free agent at the season, just like Braun and Mott. Copp. So the conditions, here's the more simple condition. So it's 2 second-round picks. This is the less sort of important one. It is that Winnipeg gets to choose between the St. Louis 2nd-round pick the Rangers got from Pavel Buchnevich or next year's 2nd-round pick that the Rangers have. So again, the 2022 Blues 2nd-round pick or the 2023 Rangers 2nd-round pick. So the Winnipeg Jets will decide which one they would prefer. And in thinking about it, that's a tough decision. The Blues have a pretty good record this year. So I guess they can either grab that or they could say, hey, look, we don't think the Rangers are going to do as well next year, so we're going to pass on that, and we're going to take the 2023 Rangers 2nd-round pick. So in my mind, not a whole lot separating those two. I think where the Blues are now are probably about where the Rangers will be next year. So we'll see. It probably really mostly depends on where the Blues finish. So there's that. Either way, that's a 2nd-round pick. The other one is, it is either going to be the Rangers 2nd-round pick this year or a 1st-round pick. The conditions on that are, if the Rangers win 2 rounds in the playoffs, so if the Rangers reach the Eastern Conference Finals and Andrew Copp plays at least 50% of those playoff games, that 2nd turns into a 1st, which is kind of a price you're willing to take. If the Rangers somehow win 2 rounds, then in some ways it's worth it. Not only that, it will be a pick between picks 29 to 32 automatically. So you'd be trading away a late 1st-round pick, because if you reach the conference finals, it becomes one of the last 4 picks of that 1st round. So right there, I think you can live with that, right? It's not like you're trading away like a mid-1st or somewhere in the in the 20s. It would be late. And honestly, I don't think the Rangers will win 2 rounds, in my honest opinion. But obviously these moves that they made today increase those chances. But I think you are looking at 2 second-round picks And, the flipping of the 5th and the 6th, not a huge deal. Obviously, Morgan Barron is involved in this trade as well. A player that I don't know how much he was going to be able to contribute to the Rangers, but I like the player. So, look, I think the hope here is that Andrew Copp plays well and that the Rangers can re-sign him to a reasonable contract. That will be important. As far as Copp is concerned, this is someone who is going to play a lot for this team. And former teammate of Jacob Trouba, dating back, I think, as far as to their time playing together at the University of Michigan. And we'll talk about another player that the Rangers acquired that also played at Michigan. But Copp and Trouba were teammates for a long time in Winnipeg. So, it's nice to have that familiar face with Copp and Trouba. I mean, in terms of Frank Vatrano as well, Trouba and Vatrano were friends dating way back. And it's key to have that camaraderie in the locker room. But Copp is someone who is someone like special teams wise, penalty kill guy and power play. Now the Rangers are pretty loaded on the power play on that first unit, so I don't think Copp makes his way on there. Although, to be honest, I would prefer him over Strome. I'm just saying, but Copp will probably be on the second unit and will be a top penalty kill guy and is very good on faceoffs. So Andrew Copp, faceoffs the last few years, he's well above 50% each time. He is this year at 54%, last year 53, the year before that 53, the year before that 55.3. And we're talking about like a lot of faceoffs. So, but he can play center or wing. Think about Barclay Goodrow, but to me, higher skill, a little bit of higher offensive skill for Andrew Copp. This year in 56 games, 13 goals, 22 assists, 35 points, +2 for the Winnipeg Jets. And there's a jack of all trades kind of guy. So even though maybe he won't be, and it's tough to really predict where he will be in the lineup. Like I said, similar to Goodrow, even if he's on the third line, expect him to get at least the 6th most forward minutes. So you're looking at someone that's going to get, I think, at least 17 minutes a night. This is someone that was averaging 19 minutes and 48 seconds a night for the Winnipeg Jets this year. Last year, 18-15. I think that's at bare minimum. I think 17, 18 minutes, just because he's new, is sort of the lighter end. I think he could play upwards to, on some nights, 19, 20 minutes. So it'll be interesting to see if they somehow put Copp on the Zibanejad line or the Strome line, or if he gets his own third line, or if he centers the third line. A lot of versatility with Andrew Copp. This is the big move out of the three. And I think that I like what he brings to the table. And this is someone that I think will be effective in playoff hockey. He is someone that has gotten better as he has gotten older. He's always been in the Winnipeg Jets organization, a 2013 4th-round pick by the Winnipeg Jets, and it took him some time to develop the offense. But, really, I would say, really took a step up, mainly in 2021. Responsibilities increased a lot in 2020, but I think it all came together last season for Copp, and now has really become a really good two-way forward. So this is someone that you're going to see a lot on the ice for the Rangers, Andrew Copp. So I guess we'll keep it at forward as well. I would say that this was the third most important move of the day, and it's Tyler Mott. Tyler Mott is someone who, and the good thing about all these players, the fans of the team that they were just on really have a lot of good things to say about them. Even Frank Vatrano as well. Frank Vatrano, I think, was well-liked by Bruins fans and Panthers fans. And Andrew Copp with Winnipeg and Tyler Mott with Vancouver fans. Funny enough, Tyler Mott was in the trade with Artemi Panarin from the Chicago Blackhawks to the Columbus Blue Jackets. And then soon thereafter, Mott was traded from Columbus to Vancouver. So with Tyler Mott, he is a high-energy, penalty-killing bottom six player. On the wing, can chip in offensively. This season, 49 games, 7 goals, 8 assists, 15 points. Plays about 14 minutes a game, a little bit more than that. Last year, shorter sample size, 24 games, actually played 16 minutes on average per game. And so, like, he's definitely someone that can score some goals, even though he's in the bottom six. What was impressive for me was in the bubble, 2020 COVID playoffs, 17 games, 4 goals for Tyler Mott. So this is someone that can definitely rise up in the bigger games and is really just tough along the boards. Really is someone that has a high motor, good teammate, also a former Michigan guy. So again, with Trouba, with Copp, I think they were teammates back then, and with Mott, I guess for a short amount of time, he was teammates with Artemi Panarin in Chicago and in Columbus until he was traded from Columbus to Vancouver. But really, he got his game going in 2019 with the Vancouver Canucks. That was really when it began. And then I think in 2020, it took on a life of its own, really once Vancouver got into the playoffs. And this is a guy that was playing on the third line with the Canucks. I think with the Rangers, you're looking more at a fourth line role. But this is someone that's going to be in the lineup night in, night out. Now, when the Rangers get fully healthy, I guess that could lead to some interesting decisions. It probably will. Where, who knows, maybe like a Frank Vetrano could be a healthy scratch. It's possible, but I think Tyler Mott is someone that you're going to see in the lineup every night, certainly now. And Tyler Mott was traded for a fourth-round pick in 2023. So the Rangers' 2023 fourth-round pick to Vancouver. I think Vancouver fans were definitely upset. I think they were hoping for a little bit more than that. And again, that's a good sign right there. So Tyler Mott, I've seen him play in Vancouver, and that's always someone that I noticed. He's had some success against the Rangers as well. I remember earlier in his Canuck career, he scored against the Rangers in Vancouver when the Rangers weren't so good. Or I think it was either late in the Vigneault era or more likely early in the Quinn era. But Tyler Mott is now a New York Ranger, and I think that's just good depth. Tyler Mott is someone like, let's just use, certainly better than, there's obvious players that he's better than or better use for, but like let's compare him to Dryden Hunt. Tyler Mott, while a little undersized, has a little bit more scoring ability and he's a penalty killer. He gets top penalty kill minutes. And what I think happens here is with Andrew Copp and Tyler Mott, I think that could take some penalty kill time away from Mika Zibanejad and Chris Kreider. And that, I think, could be really good to keep them fresh for what is hopefully a long run. And certainly you have Goodrow, you have Rooney when he comes back. It doesn't sound like Kaapo Kakko or Kevin Rooney will be back soon, which is maybe part of the reason why these deals were made. Chris Drury said that Kakko and Rooney don't expect to see them until April. So, and who knows, like they could be out another 3-4 weeks. I'm just speculating with that, but I think we should be under the, just assume that they won't be back for a while. I think Kakko, it's a wrist injury. With Rooney, it's an upper body injury. We don't know what it is. So that's unfortunate. And Rooney is a key penalty kill guy. So now you have Mott, you have Copp who can do that. So that's the forwards. Defense, the Rangers make a trade with the Philadelphia Flyers. You don't see that too often. I think the last one might have been the Eric Lindros trade. But Justin Braun is traded to the Rangers, and the Rangers trade a third-round pick in 2023 to the Flyers. And with Justin Braun, that was a guy I think that Flyers fans, and maybe look, fans are this way, but Flyers fans, I think, were hoping for better than that. The Flyers traded a second and third round pick to San Jose when they originally got Braun a few years ago. That was different. That was a full year of Braun before he hit free agency. The Flyers would eventually re-sign him, and he was a few years younger at that point. So it's different. But Braun was a +3 on a really, really poor Flyer team. I think that says a lot. And Braun played 20 minutes a night and was at least a top 4 guy for them. So with San Jose for years, he was on that top 4, whether it be with Marc-Edouard Vlasic, probably most likely Vlasic, but Brent Burns was in that mix as well. He was someone who was very much a core member of that San Jose team, and he was teammates with Barclay Goodrow. So again, I think having those connections is key, and Goodrow and Braun were teammates for a while with the San Jose Sharks, and Justin Braun, a lot of these play. I mean, Braun, I guess especially, came close to a cup. He made the cup final with the Sharks back in 2016. And did really well in that playoffs. He played 24 games, 2 goals, 5 assists, 7 points, and was a +7. And this is not a guy who's going to be expected to chip in offensively. It probably most likely hurts Braden Schneider, although he can play both sides, left or right, but I'd expect him to be on the right side. It probably bumps Schneider down, but who knows? The idea of Nemeth and Braun, I don't love that really. Like in terms of mobility, like in some ways, I feel like Zach Jones and Justin Braun to me would be an interesting combination. But I don't think that, again, Zach Jones is someone who I don't think they trust quite yet. So expect to see Nemeth and Braun as a pair, but who knows? Maybe they mix things up a bit. Even though I think the top 4 is pretty much where it is, but Braun is someone that can easily step into that top 4. He really can. And I think as a third pair defenseman, that's pretty good. You can never have enough depth. You see the best teams in the playoffs, they have big, rugged, defensive defensemen. That's exactly what Justin Braun is. So he's 35 years old. He and Ryan Reeves are definitely the oldest guys in the team, and you can use that veteran leadership, and Braun is exactly that. Very understated, and really did well for a very bad Philadelphia Flyers team. This year, 61 games, 5 goals, 11 assists, 16 points as well. So did chip in, because really, you look at his stats throughout his career, not a guy that's really going to score a whole lot. That's not his game, but consistently for a while was playing 20 minutes, 21 minutes a night with San Jose. And with Philadelphia, it dropped a bit. But this year it picked back up. And it seems like even though it did, his play didn't necessarily suffer for it. He was still a plus player on a Flyer team that had a really bad goal differential. So that is, again, plus minus can be misleading, but that's encouraging because I think Braun was going up against top talent on the other side with the Rangers. He won't be asked to do that. So the Rangers really improved, especially from a defensive standpoint with these trades today. Vetrano, definitely more offensive minded. Copp, both. Mott, more defensive. Like I said, is someone that in that bottom 6 can chip in some goals, but is, known more for his, hard work, high energy, and defense. And Justin Braun, definitely. So even though the Rangers don't allow goals, we can attribute a lot of that to Igor Shesterkin. And so with good defense could come good offense as well. And there's just no doubt the Rangers are a better team now. And the Rangers were not in a position where they could acquire players who were under contract for years beyond now, because they're in a situation where there's a lot of cap space now, but there won't be so much starting next season. So you take a run at it while not sacrificing so much. And the Rangers certainly didn't do that from a prospect standpoint. They do trade Morgan Barron, but we're not talking about trading someone like Nils Lundqvist. We're not talking about trading someone like Zach Jones, Matthew Robertson, even Vitaly Kravtsov, even though we don't know what his situation is. Morgan Barron, you can definitely live with that. And from draft capital standpoint, you likely didn't give up a first-round pick. And if you did give up a first-round pick, it would have meant that you made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, which I think is a trade that you would absolutely take. That wasn't expected. So, like the Vetrano for a 4th-round pick, that's decent value. Mott for a 4th-round pick, decent value. Braun for a 3rd-round pick, decent value. And the Copp one, yeah, like that is something that the Rangers did give up a decent amount for, but Andrew Copp is a really good player who is going to be a very important piece of the team. So in order to get something good, you got to give something good back. So I think Drury did as good of a job as he could. And I was very critical of him. I did not like that Pavel Buchnevich trade, and I still don't. I still don't think that was a trade that made a whole lot of sense. But I think that this trade deadline, and let's see how things go, I think he did a good job of, like I said, improving the team while also keeping the future still very bright. And, every reason to think that the Rangers will be successful moving forward. And so I think the Rangers were, you hate to declare winners and losers of the deadline, but I think the Rangers were a pretty big winner today. I really think that this is going to be a team. It might take a little bit of time to gel. There may be a sequence here where the Rangers need some time to adjust. That might happen, but I think if they stay healthy and if they can get Kakko and Rooney back, forget about it. You're talking about a situation where now players that were mainstays in the lineup are almost definitely out. Dryden Hunt would be out of the lineup. Ryan Reeves would be out of the lineup. It gives you a lot of different options, and you can truly roll 4 lines. But I think for now, they need to figure out what combinations work. It's tough to say, especially for the forwards, where they go with it. But it makes it, as a fan, very exciting. Like this Devil game tomorrow, with all these new Rangers making their debut, it's pretty fun. The Rangers haven't been in this situation in a while now. The Rangers are usually selling off players and not bringing new ones in. So it reminds me of better times for the Rangers, and I think that this is a better team now than it was 24 hours ago, and I'm very excited to see what the rest of the season brings as the Rangers are going for it. And the Rangers, I think, are definitely going to be a tougher out than they would have been if they hadn't made these moves in the playoffs.